Hi there. If you're a female runner who's feeling completely frustrated because you've gained weight while you've been training for a race, maybe even a marathon, which is crazy because you're running so much and you don't know what to do because you know you don't want to go on a diet and you want to know what can I actually do to lose weight while and keep it off while training for races and feel good and confident in my body. So I'm going to talk about that today. And I'm Nicole Dobransky. I'm a certified endurance nutrition coach, a run coach, and I have been coaching runners on strength, nutrition, and running for the last 9 years. And I'm going to talk a lot about what I've learned over that time about why diets don't work, what does, and what you can do if you want to lose weight now. So, if this sounds familiar, you're in the right place. You've gained weight even while you're running regularly. You're tired of being lethargic, having sugar cravings, energy crashes, and cravings. Maybe you can't keep out of the pantry at night or on the weekends or after a long run. You're just voracious. Your running paces have gotten slower and you don't feel like you're really an athlete. And you eat mostly healthy, but your body doesn't look like it. And no matter your age, I'm 41, you can improve your nutrition and improve your running too. So, how is it possible to run more and gain weight? I would know from experience, despite being a coach in this area for 9 years. When I approached 40, I was training for my first 50K ultra marathon. And I think part of it was knowing that I was taking on this daunting task of running the farthest I ever had on this, on the trails and the terrain. Part of my preparation for that was making sure I was getting enough fuel. And at the same time, as I was getting older, kind of eating the way that I used to was just real like was really not working for me anymore. So during this training cycle, I gained 12 pounds. And by the time this is actually one of my tune-up races leading up to the ultra marathon, I just really didn't. I remember seeing this picture and being like, oh man, I don't feel like I look like an athlete. I don't feel like I look fit. And I know that in order to achieve those big running goals that I have, I need to be fueling my body more like an athlete and to, make some changes. I was also following a lot of that fueling advice that I was seeing on social media, and there's just so much conflicting information. Despite what I know as a coach, I'm human too. So I had gained this weight, and here I'm 40 years old. I'm now 41, and I was able to take it off without dieting and without starving myself. So if you're like me and a lot of the women that I work with, pretty much all of them, you've probably tried some combination of these things to help with your weight loss or just to as you're fueling your runs. So maybe you've tried a restrictive diet or nutrition program. You've tried skipping meals or fueling with Pop Tarts and candy, like you've seen people share about online. Maybe you don't eat before your runs because you think that's saving some calories, or skipping gels and fueling your long runs. Or maybe you're just like, I'm just going to forget about it. I'll let intuitive eating take over. But we all know that intuitive eating, or we should know that intuitive eating doesn't really work in the way that our food system is set up. You blamed genetics, just like me. A large majority of my family is obese. And I, for a long time, thought that that was just kind of my destiny. And it definitely doesn't have to be yours if you feel the same. So, doing all these things, it really leads to being hungry, losing weight and gaining it back, uncontrollable snacking and cravings, and maybe binging, your runs feeling like crap. And sometimes you just don't even start eating healthy or eating better because you're like, well, I have a girls' night coming up, or you're looking at your calendar and there's just never really that time to fit it in. And so you don't want to do it at all because the plans that you've tried are so restrictive that there's no way you'd be able to, actually live your life or have Easter dinner on the program. So if you also feel like you can't really sustain it while feeding your family, I have 3 children and a very hungry husband, and this has worked for me. So why diets specifically do not work for runners and what you really need to do instead. So number one, most diets are low carb. Almost all of them, not all of them, but most of them are. However, we need carbs as runners. We have to have them. So when you're losing weight, as I have, eating plenty of carbs, it's really about the type of carbs you eat, and it's also about when and what you eat them with. So that is more important than restricting carbs. It's just not going to work. If you restrict carbs, you will not have enough fuel and energy to sustain your runs, let alone maybe even your daily functioning. You're going to be grumpy, your runs are going to suck, and it's not going to be good. So you can't follow those traditional plans. Second, your fueling needs change daily and seasonally as a runner. Most nutrition plans have you counting calories or counting macros, and it just does not work because you are trying to fit your different activities and your different caloric needs into one little into one app. And I know that a lot of these things have like an estimate of how many calories you've burned, but the reality is runners are usually exercising far more than the average person who goes to the gym. So these macros and calorie counting apps are not allowing you to adjust to the true like needs of your body. You are probably under eating if you're following these, which is then leading to binging. So some days you might be under eating, some days you might be overeating, but either way, you're not listening to your body and you are restricting. You're probably also, it's really time consuming to track calories and macros. So you already are training. Maybe you're also doing, hopefully you're also doing some strength training and you're trying to eat these healthy meals, but you're also trying to track every little thing. And maybe, you know, when your husband makes dinner, you're frustrated because you don't know how that's going to fit in, or you eat some kind of, you know, soup and you're like, how's that going to fit into my macro count? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can lose weight without tracking calories, without tracking macros, I promise you. And you don't want to stress out your family, right? When you're doing this, and we don't want, as a mom of young girls, I don't want my kids seeing me logging all my food in an app. I just don't. Also, sugar is made the enemy in most diets. And while sugar, I don't recommend you, you know, eating a bunch of dessert every single day. There's a place for that in your diet, and I call it smiles. But sugar is needed for performance. So if you are on a nutrition program or diet that kind of villainizes sugar, you might be tempted to skip your fueling during your runs, or potentially make up for it if you do take gels by like not eating as much later. And you might feel guilt, or it just doesn't work. You do need sugar. Again, there's a certain time and a place in your nutrition that's going to help basically help your body use that sugar and incinerate it and create energy out of it, which is going to help you run faster and feel better. So don't feel like you need to restrict sugar. So how do you actually keep the weight off and lose it when you're even 40 years old or older? So now I am not yo-yo dieting. My weight doesn't go up and down. I haven't gained back a single pound that I had lost after I did my Run Fuel program last January and February. I maintained/lost that weight slowly over time. And I'm running faster. I feel more confident. I am sleeping better, and I have so much more energy and excitement. I'm also showing my children what healthy eating is and what balance means, because I'm also enjoying my favorite foods. Like my kids love In-N-Out. It's like the only thing that all of our family will eat. And I eat In-N-Out like every other week, and I get the full double and fries. I'm not eating like picking at my food and making an animal style burger, because this is how life is not designed to be constantly restricting, binging, going on diets, and then overdoing it and feeling guilt. There is a way to achieve balance, I promise. And this hasn't just worked for me. I have helped hundreds of women go through my Run Fuel program specifically, but over the course of my 9 years, helped over 1,000 women with weight loss, nutrition, and running. So you can see some of these are screenshots of messages that I've gotten, of updates that I've gotten. And there's just literally hundreds more of these that I could also share with you. And fuel is just such an important part of this isn't just about weight loss. This is about energy and vitality and feeling like you are giving your body the food that it really needs and deserves to be its best, not just now, but even in your long-term health. And when you eat this way, you're also going to be positively impacting your family as well. So the fourth step, if you're ready, if you want to go on to the next step and learn about my Run Fuel program for weight loss program for runners, it is an 8-week program that I have designed using all of the experience that I've had over these last 9 years, my certifications, and my own experience in applying it practically to what it's like to be a runner. I think that is one of the key distinguishers between my program and what you might do as a diet. Is this is not just me teaching you something or you getting a protocol to follow. This is me teaching you how to take this knowledge and apply it practically as a female runner over 35 who likely has a family or has a career or is training for races, and you have a lot of balls in the air. So not only am I going to teach you, I'm going to guide you, and I'm going to hold you accountable with our weekly check-ins, and I'm also going to support you and be able there. You're going to be in a community of other women doing it too. So the 4-step process is we start with evaluating. We're going to establish where you're at, strengths, weaknesses, habits, areas of growth, and you're going to learn and educate in this first week. So we're not restricting or cutting anything out in this first week. So you don't have to feel like the night before you start, you're going out and having your last meal, because you're going to be able to have that meal again. So in weeks 2 and 3, we're really working on crowding out. So that means we are adding in foods that create fullness, help your body burn more fat. So this phase, we are doing it step by step, and we are focusing specifically on adding in food. And we're not thinking as much about what we're cutting out. Then we're going to work on energizing, so the types and timing of carbs to support energy, performance, and weight loss. And then we're going to move on to our fueling section, where we are talking about how do we fuel our body and our training based on where we're at in our training cycle. So when we're in weight loss phase, ideally we're not right before a marathon. I do not recommend you join the program if you're like 2 months out from a marathon, because we really want to be fueling our bodies for optimal performance at that time. And that's what I'm going to teach you here, is the periodization of your nutrition. Meaning you're going to know what to eat on different days and different times of the year based on where you're at in your training cycle. Because even when you're in like the base building period of your, like say marathon or half marathon plan, meaning you're mostly running easy miles, you're maybe building mileage, we can lose weight during that time. We can maybe create more of a caloric deficit, but when we are in our peak training, we're not going to. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm also going to teach you how to fuel your run so that you prevent those energy crashes and that like the binges and the hunger on the weekends in particular. So the weight loss program has 3 different components. And number 1 is that 4-step weight loss program process for runners. This is housed in an app, and you'll get videos and you'll get resources that you can do self-paced, but it will be dripped throughout the 8 weeks. So I'm going to take you step by step. I really find that I want you to be empowered with the education and capable with the resources, but not overwhelmed to the point where you feel like you're making so many changes that you get paralyzed and you don't know what to do, or that you feel like it's not restrictive to the point where you're like, I can't keep this up. So we're going to be making progress even from day 1, but it's extended over 8 weeks. You're going to get practical resources to make it easier, which includes my 5S meal planning strategy. And that includes what I call SMILES, which is your favorite foods and family preferences. These are things that are the family favorite foods. These are things that may not be considered like weight loss supportive foods, but these are things that you really enjoy, whether it's that chocolate the piece of chocolate that you have every day, or I love my sugary coffee creamer, it's delicious, and things like that are allowed in your week. And I encourage you to have a pretty big smile once a week, meaning whatever your date night is, or you're enjoying those things. So you can eat healthy and still enjoy your favorite foods. And then coaching and community, so you stick with it. So in the app, you're not only going to have access to the course, but there is a group chat. So everyone in the app is just like you. They are a female runner. They are trying to lose weight. It's a very supportive private spot where you can come in, ask questions. You're going to get, prompts from me to, your guidance and prompts from me to share, to help the conversation get it going. And then each week we're going to do a check-in form where you're going to fill out a form with some of your updates. And when you need coaching, I will come and give you that one-on-one coaching. As well as we have bi-weekly coaching calls, which are recorded. They're optional, but I highly recommend that you come to kind of work out some of those things that might come up. All right, so these are more testimonials from past clients of mine. Nancy lost 5 pounds, and I love when she said her Oura ring even showed better sleep, her clothes fit better. Rachel lost 5 pounds. She's eating more veggies. She realized she wasn't eating as many veggies as she thought. So that often is a realization that often people have, is they're like, I'm eating pretty healthy. But when we go through the program, you're like, okay, I see where some of those holes were, right, in my nutrition. More energy is always one that's really big. And same with Lindsay showing here, and she's recovering faster. Knowing how to handle the hunger that you have around running is what Christina said. And Maria lost 8 pounds, and she really saw how certain foods affect her mood, her fuel, or her performance, and her binging or snacking. Veronica said she lost 7 pounds, but even her husband lost weight during the program, which is really cool. So imagine feeling confident in your body. You're sleeping better, you're running faster, you're feeling empowered and in control of your fueling, but you don't have to explain to your friends at dinner that you're on a diet again. Have you been there? You're not worried that what you're eating is not enough to support your training. And you're not having to say no to cake on your daughter's birthday, because you can have it. You're not tracking macros or cutting out food groups and feeling stressed out by food. You're not that mom who hides behind the camera in the photos, or who cringes at her race photos when they come in. Imagine posting it and being really proud of not only your performance, but just looking and feeling like an athlete. Feeling completely overwhelmed by the amount of conflicting information on social media. It is a wild, wild west out there right now. So having one place that you can log in, check and have this guide to guide you through is going to be so essential. You don't have to quit running. You don't have to go do a heavy lifting program. Although I do recommend weightlifting, it's not required. You don't have to quit running in order to eat, to feel and look better, promise. So if you're ready, let's get signed up now. And you're going to immediately feel less overwhelmed and more optimistic about where you're headed. In 1 week, you're going to feel more in control. And in 8 weeks, you're going to lose between 5 and 15 pounds. And at the finish line of your next race, you're going to be proud of that effort and excited to get your race photos back. So this is not all or nothing. There's no need to get in one last meal the night before you start again. And if you don't lose at least 5 pounds in 8 weeks by following the methodology, completing your weekly check-ins, I will work with you for free until you do, or I'll refund your money. So I am highly confident that this is going to be something that's really going to help you. And it's not only going to help you lose this weight, it's going to help you create that ongoing healthy lifestyle so you can take it forward and you'll know how to fuel your next training cycle, how to keep the weight off, how to eat healthier and have more energy and longevity. And the price is $199 per month. There is a 2-month minimum. The program is meant to be done over 2 months. So over 8 weeks. And then you have the choice, depending on whether you have more weight to lose or you need that support, to just continue on at the same price, or you can drop down to my other community, which is $35 a month. It's called Run Fueled and Faster. And it is more of just an overall wellness community. We have monthly challenges related to running and different nutrition things, but it's not a program like this. So you can decide to drop down to that, or you can just cancel completely. So ideally, you're coming in, you're committing to those 2 months, and you're really coming in with the excitement and the mindset that this is going to be so worth it and that you are ready to feel amazing. So if you're ready to go, make sure that you fill out or you get signed up, and I would love to see you in the community. And to clarify, you will get me. I'm going to be there coaching you and supporting you, and I would absolutely love to help you. So if you have any questions, please send me an email, and I will talk to you soon.